Today we will see very important unit, that is financial and accounting system. In this chapter we are going to see what is meant by a system, data, system characteristics, master data, non-master data, accounting system, different types of accounts, supply chain management system, customer relationship management system, and enterprise resource planning, very important one, enterprise resource planning, ERP components, advantages of ERP, and still we have other concepts such as XBRL, very important one, extensible business reporting language, XBRL. Who uses XBRL? XBRL components, XBRL taxonomy, and so forth. Basel III norms also. So, in this session, we will start with what is meant by a system. See, we know that a system is nothing but interrelated, interdependent, interactive, integrated set of elements or the components. Listen, a system is nothing but set of methods, elements, components, or activities or events that are combined together to achieve a common goal or common objective. Generally, every system accepts the data as input, that is processed and produces output in an organized manner or a systematic manner. For example, consider a computer system. A computer system accepts the data, processes the data, and produces the result that is called as information. Every system always maintains the consistent state, steady state. Even though any kind of changes in the external environment, still that is not going to be impacted on a system. It always maintains you consistent state or a steady state. Every system is going to be exists within the boundary. Every system exists within the boundary. The main goal of any system is to perform an activity. It may include set of methods or the components or events or activities, approaches, mechanisms, or something. Every system must accept the input, process, control, produce an output in an organized manner. Every system contains set of subsystems, what you call subcomponents. For example, business organization is a system. Business organization can be divided into set of subsystems: marketing, HR, payroll, inventory, accounting, finance, and so forth. Every system can be divided into set of subsystems. Each subsystem has a sub-goal. All these sub-goals are contributed to achieve the major goal. A business organization major goal is to achieve the profits. That is in the terms of revenue. So, for this we have a marketing, sales, service, and so forth. All these are subsystem. Each subsystem has a sub-goal. All these sub-goals are contributed to achieve the major goal. So, consider the definition. A system is a set of detailed methods, procedures, approaches, functions, routines, mechanisms, or anything created to carry out a specific activity or to perform a duty or to solve a problem that can be treated as achieving a goal. It may be an activity, it may be a duty, or to solve a problem. Anything can be treated as a system. Next, a system is an organized, purposeful structure that consists of interrelated, interdependent elements. What is interrelated? What is interdependent? Element are the components or factors or members, entities, parts, anything. What is interrelated? What is interdependent? For example, here we have a subsystem called a inventory system. Inventory system receives the raw material from the suppliers, and the output of this component inventory will act like the output of this component, output of inventory acts like input for production. Output of production acts like input for marketing or sales. This concept is said to be interdependency. The output of one component always depends upon another, or input component depends upon some other component's inputs or outputs, or output of one subsystem acts like input for another subsystem. That is, output of inventory acts like input for production, output of production acts like input for marketing. Output of this will act like input for service. So, this is called as interdependency. How one subsystem communicates with another subsystem is said to be interaction. How one component is communicated with another component associated in the terms of two-way communication called mutually related or interrelated. All these elements are said to be a set, what you call integrated. That's why we used to call a system is an interrelated, interdependent, interactive, integrated set of elements or the components or the parts in order to handle, in order to achieve a specific duty or to perform a task or to achieve a goal. And then we have all the system generally have, I told you, inputs, process and output. Whether we have, I told you, the control mechanism, it also consists of feedback, whether whatever the output that is produced by the system is correct or not is defined by a feedback mechanism. If you want to specifically say, every system consists of input, process, storage, output and feedback mechanism. Every system maintains internal steady state regardless of, despite of a changing external environment. Even though any kind of changes, still the system maintains steady state. Every system should have the boundaries that are usually defined by whom? System observer. All these boundaries are defined by system observer. See, important question. What is meant by a system? The word system can be explained as set of detailed methods, procedures, routines or functions created to carry out a specific activity, to perform a duty or to solve a problem. Or you can say a system is nothing but interrelated, interdependent, interactive set of elements or the components that are combined together to achieve a common goal. It may be to solve the problem or to perform a duty or to handle a specific activity. It is an organized, purposeful structure that consists of interrelated, mutually related, cooperative, interdependent. Output of one component may be input for another component. Interdependent elements are the components, entities, factors, members are the parts. In different contexts, we used to have different elements. All the systems generally have, I told you, every system must have input, output, process, input. How can you get the output? Input, process, storage, output, and feedback mechanism. What is feedback mechanism? We are going to controlling the operations is said to be a feedback. Every system maintains internal steady state despite of changing external environment. Every system should have a boundaries that are usually defined by the system observer. And then systems may consist of set of subsystems which are parts of a larger system. I told you every system can be divided into set of subsystems. Each subsystem has a sub-goal. All these sub-goals are contributed to achieve the major goal, what is called system goal. A system includes defined methods and process to perform the activity. So, basically processes which are important components in any system. Next one, question number 2. Question number 2, what is meant by a process? See, process is nothing but a transformation activity which transforms given inputs into required outputs. For example, a process is nothing but sequence of activities, series of actions that transforms inputs into required outputs. Inputs into required outputs. That may be existed within the boundaries of the organization, and also it always achieves the objectives of the organization and creates value to the customers, both internal and external. In the systems engineering arena, a process is defined as a sequence of events that uses inputs to produce outputs. That's why I told you it is a transformation process. From a business perspective, a process is a coordinated and standardized flow of activities performed by the people or machines. We all know a process may be manual process or automated process. Maximum amount of human intervention is associated. Such a process is said to be manual process. No manual intervention is there. Still, we are going to execute each and every operation with the help of computers and information technology infrastructure that is called as automated system, which can achieve, which can traverse functional or departmental boundaries to achieve the business objectives and creates value for both internal and external customers. Both internal and external customers. Now move on to very important question, what you call master data, non-master data. Very important question. Public examination question. It is a repeated question in public examinations also. Let us start with master data and non-master data. We know that in the case of database controls also, I explained you what are various categories of data elements. Master data, transaction data. Master data, second one is non-master data. non-master data is said to be a transactional data. I want to explain you 2 additional points here. In general, a customer interacting with the banking operations where he deposits or withdraws the money from the bank account. These elements are said to be day-to-day operations, also called as transactions. All these transactions will be handled by a system called Transaction Processing System, called TPS. Non-master data is completely temporary data. It is a non-permanent data. Whereas master data is completely a permanent data that is not expected to change frequently, whereas non-master data is concerned, it is totally non-permanent data that is expected to change frequently or continuously. Master data is nothing but main data which is similar to your ledger, isn't it? Accounts master, payroll master, inventory master, human resource management master, all these are come under master data. Master data is nothing but a permanent data that is not expected to change frequently. Whenever need arises, we are going to allow. Whereas non-master data is said to be a transactional data. What is transactional? A data that is going to be operated on a day-to-day basis is said to be non-master data. It is called a transaction data. It is a transactional data which is changed continuously or expected to be changed continuously. For example, I want to enter the data in the case of transaction. For example, bank clerk wants to enter your details. See, if they want to enter your transaction details, where that is in the case of a application, they have to enter the details by typing. That is, transaction data is always typed. Sometimes it may be selected by drop-down list box. Drop-down list boxes. Whereas master data is not typed, it is always selected. That means, for example, manager wants to see the total transactional details as a consolidated statement. Here, he is going to select a filter that itself sufficient for displaying the data, but not for typing. Master data is not typed by the user. It is selected from existing masters. Whereas transactional data may be selected from drop-down list boxes. I will give you one example. Consider MS Excel. In this case, I have name of a student. What is that? Name of a student. Student name. I need to enter. Physically, you have to enter the data Ramu, Hari, Siva, Ganesh, like that. This is a transactional data. For example, student number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Lata, and marks marks may be 456, 256, 3, something like this. City, Guntur, Ongole, Hyderabad, Vijayawada, and again Guntur. So, this is the information where the transactional data that must be entered by, what is that? Entered by the total information. Okay, this is the information. For example, if you have a course, in this case, how to handle the data elements. Sometimes the data may be selected from drop down list boxes. The data may be selected from drop down list boxes. We have various options available. In the case of tools, you can set this particular column as a filter. You can sort the data, you can handle the data, That's why in this case, entire information or the data may be typed. Sometimes it may be selected. This is not the exact application, that is, it is only Excel. If it is an application, then you may have, if you have a petrol bunk database, at that time you need to enter, instead of typing, 1 stands for individual, 2 stands for two-wheeler, 3 stands for three-wheeler, what you call auto, 4 stands for four-wheeler, or H stands for heavy vehicles. In major cases, they need to enter the customer name, and also vehicle number they have to enter. But only vehicle type may be selected from drop down list, that is called as a non-master data. Here, master data is always selected from available set of masters. It always maintains a standardization. Without regard to the individual, everything is going to be same, is said to be standardization. Let us see what is meant by master data and non-master data. I told you, master data is relatively permanent data, not expected to change frequently. Exact reverse is the case. Non-master data is also called as transactional data, where day-to-day operations are executed. It is a non-permanent data and expected to change frequently. And then, master data is not typed by the user, it is selected from available list, whereas non-master is concerned. Non-master data must be typed by the user, not selected from available list, as it is a non-permanent and it is keeps on changing again and again. For example, date recorded in each transaction is expected to change again and again, will not be constant in all the transactions. Every time the date value may be varying. Bill number, it is continuously changing. Master data entry is usually done frequently, once in a year, where there is a need to update. For example, new categories of rules or regulations exist, then only we are going to modify the data. Master data is selected from available list of masters. For example, anything that may be accounting master, inventory master data, payroll master data, statutory master data, and so forth. That is for the purpose of standardization. What is that? Standardization. What is standardization? Without regard to the individual components, we follow a standardization. Here we have various categories of standards, that is accounting master data, inventory master data, payroll master data, and statutory master data. Sometimes transaction data could also be selected from drop-down list of inputs available to the users. For example, I will give you one application example. For example, consider this is a petrol bunk application. This is a petrol bunk application where user bill number is continuously changing. Name of the customer, it must be entered by the operator. Vehicle type, it is selected from the list. This is called as a drop down list. This is a text box. Quantity, it must be entered by the user. Rate, it is fixed. I think for example 93 rupees 60 paisa. It is a petrol. It is a motor spirit, MS. It is automatically calculated based upon the quantity. Here we have a button, OK or cancel, print. See, generally bill number is automatically generated. All bill numbers may not be same. For every customer we have a new bill number. Customer name of the customer must be entered by the operator. Vehicle type may not be typed, it may be selected from drop down list boxes. Sometimes, in some cases, some fields, we are going to have a selection of a drop down list, that is possible. Now, move on to question number 3. Very, very important question. Sometimes the question may be asked, differentiate master data, non-master data. Every accounting system stores the data in two ways. Number one is master, second one is non-master. First one is master data, second one is non-master data. Yes, what I told you. Which one is permanent? Master data. Which is temporary? Non-master. Which is continuously changing? Transaction. Non-master. Which is not changed? That is called as master. Relatively permanent data and not expected to change frequently. Non-permanent data and expected to change frequently, it is also called as transaction data. Master data is generally not typed by the user, but it is selected from the available list by the user, whereas exactly opposite. Non-master data is being dynamic. It is typed by the user, not selected from the available list. Not selected from the available list. Master data entry is usually done less frequently, once in a year or whenever there is a need arises, whereas non-master data is continuous, because every day we have day-to-day operations, continuous operations. Sometimes transactional data could also be selected from a drop-down list of inputs available to the user. Master data is selected from available list of masters. I told you ledger is an example of a master. In order to maintain standardization, we have accounting master data, inventory master data, payroll master data, statutory master data. Here, date changes again and again, will not be constant in all the transactions. Next one. Explain different types of master data in financial and accounting system. I think all these terms are more familiar for you. Here we have various types of AIPS. Cheat code is AIPS. Accounting master data, inventory master data, Payroll master data, statutory master data, that is accounting master data. It includes all the names of ledgers, groups, cost centers, accounting vouchers, etc. That is, capital ledger is created once and not expected to change frequently because master data cannot be changed frequently. Inventory master. It includes stock items, stock groups, godows, inventory voucher types, etc. Stock item is something which bought and sold for the business purpose called a trading goods. Payroll. It is a system of calculation of a salary and recording of the transactions relating to the employees. Master data in the case of payroll can be the names of employees. They may not be changed instantaneously per day. Group of employees, salary structure, pay head, etc. These data are not expected to change frequently. This is a master data relating to LR. It may be different for different types of taxes, that is GST, nature of payment for the tax deducted at the source called TDS, etc. This data also shall be relatively permanent. See, whatever the data we have that is always permanent, that is not expected to change frequently, such a component is said to be a master data. Master data may not be changed frequently. What is that? Master data may not be changed frequently. Next point. C grade question. What is a voucher? Explain different types of voucher. Generally, a voucher is nothing but a documentary evidence of a transaction. Nowadays, in electronic transaction, everything is recorded online. Every transaction history is recorded. In accounting language, a voucher is a documentary evidence of a transaction. There may be different documentary evidences for different types of transactions. I don't want to give more information on it. It is a C grade question. At the same time, you all are familiar with these kinds of vouchers. Vouchers may be payment, receipt, journal, sales, purchase, credit note, debit note, purchase order, sales order, stock, physical stock, delivery note, receipt, memorandum, attendance, payroll, and so forth. All these components are come under various categories of vouchers. Now, another important question, explain what are the components of accounting information system. Let us see. Very important question. Even though it is a B grade question, very important question. What are the components of accounting software? Components of accounting software. Very easy and simple. Accounting software. Let us see. Basically, we have a user. User interact with an area that is called an application area known as a front end. This is an area or a application where the user interact with the system. This is called a front end application. It includes name of the user, passcode of a user, or a password of a user. For example, here this is a user. User wants to access a specific information from accounting software. It may be anything, it may be in the form of a balance sheet. For that, what user need to do? User interact with an application. That application is said to be a front end, also called as user interface. This is also called a user interface. User interface or a front end. This is an area where the user interact with the system. Whenever you open a Tally, Focus, Wings, ERP, whatever the screen that is displayed is said to be a front end. Entire data is available in database. This is called a database. Here the data is organized in the form of a table. This is called a database, also called as a backend. How the user gets the information from the database, that is called components of accounting software. In this case, we have only two components. Number one is front end and back end. And this is the user requests for a specific file or a data. He interact with the front end application. Front end application is an application that provides you friendly graphical user interface. User do not have direct access to the database. Now front end sends a request to the back end. Back end retrieves the data, process the data, retrieves the data and pass the required information to the front end. Now front end presents the information to the user. This process is executed whenever the data is displayed on the monitor. You are going to interact with an application and acquire the information from the database. This is called as front end. See, front end can understand both the user language and database language. It is an intermediate party between the user and database. Whereas database cannot understand user language. It can be executed only through user interface called a front end. User do not have direct access to the database. So anything must be executed through intermediate components. Anything is executed through intermediate processes. Just one point. Question number 6, very important question, easy question. Front end and back end. See this. This is the diagram I drawn in a separate manner, which is very easy. User interact with the front end retrieves the data, front end interact with the back end always interact with the front end, user will get the data. The same diagram is drawn here, but in a detailed manner. Front end. It is a part of overall software which actually interacts with the user of a software. I am a user. I am going to interact with front end, not with the database. But my data is going to be stored with the database, but I don't have any direct access to the database. Backend, it is a part of overall software which does not directly interact with the user, but it interacts with only front end. There are two important elements. Number one is front end, second one is back end. Working of any accounting software. See this. If the user wants to access any information such as a balance sheet from the database, first he interacts with the front end. Front end sends a request to the database, retrieves and presents the data to the front end. Front end displays the data. All these steps are written in sentences. If a user wants to have information from the system, for example, balance sheet, user will interact with front end part of the software, because I am going to send the request to the front end called a graphical user interface. Front end will receive the instruction from the user and pass it to the backend. See this, it receives the request, pass this request to the backend. Backend will process the data and generate the report and send it to the front end. Yes, backend process the data and generate the report to the front end. Front end now display the information to the user. This is also important. Don't keep it as a italic. It is also a direct font. Front end will now display the information to the user. This is how the process gets completed each and every time whenever there is a request. Whenever there is a request. So, if the user wants to access the data, it is a process that is called as user will interact with the front-end application. Front-end application pass the request to the database. Database process, what you call database is called backend. It process, retrieves a report and pass it to the front-end. Now, the user will display it with some information. Now, what are the reasons for separating these two elements, front-end and back-end? Why? Why don't you have a single component? See, the first one is front-end can speak both the languages called user language and database language. Database or a back-end cannot speak the user language. That's why we are separating. The first one is language. Front end speaks in user language and understand the languages of back end. That's why I told you it is an intermediate party which can understand both the languages. Back end speaks in only technical language. The technical language cannot be understood by the user. Cannot be understood by the user. For example, all database languages may be like this. For example, select star from student where city is equal to Guntur and marks is greater than 500. This is a database component. It is a structured query language called Oracle. This query, this is called as a query. That is normally cannot understood by the user. This is a technical language. I am going to retrieve the data of all the data related to the students who resides in Guntur and also got the marks more than 500. Because here I am writing a condition called and both the conditions must be satisfied. That's why here it can speak only technical language, whereas front end can speak both the technical and user language. Next one is domain expertise. Whenever a user requests, the user request will be handled by a front end. Front end handles the user request. Back end is meant for storing and handling the data, but not handling the user request. Front end receive the request from the user and pass it to the back end. Here, back end receives, process and produces a report. That is for back end is meant for storing and handling the data. Presentation. See, user interacting area is said to be a front end. Data storage area is said to be back end. Front end interacts with the user and it always presents the information in a proper format. Whereas back end is concerned, back end is not meant for presentation, it is only for storage and retrieval. User experience. Front end guides the user to the desired report or a format or a feature. Front end handles the processed data. Front end user interfaces need to be intuitive, which means that it is minimum use of help should be required by the user. That may not be, for example, say this is a graphical user interface. When you double click on my computer, or move mouse pointer onto the my computer, that shows the disk drives and hardware connected to this computer. It is called as a tooltip text. What is that? Tooltip text. When you keep your mouse pointer on this folder, it creates date created 30/11/2020 and the size is 49.1 MB or something like that. This is minimum help, minimum user intervention is needed. Speed. For example, if you use the same software or a single software for both handling of requests, processing and producing output, it may be slow down the process. If you have a separate component, they may be providing high speed. Using the single software for both the aspects would unnecessarily increase the load and slow down the speed. Separate backend software reduces the load and increases the speed of operation, because all requests will be handled by a front end, all data storages will be handled by a backend, isn't it? All data requests will be handled by a front end, storage and retrieval will be provided by backend. See this, see the question, important question. What are the components of accounting software? Discuss the working of any accounting software. Here we have a user. User wants to see the balance sheet of a company. Entire data is available in backend called database. User is interacting with the application called front end, also called as user interface. So user interact with front end receives the request, pass the request to the database. Now the database receives the request sent by the front end, process, retrieves, organizes, report and send the report to the front end. Now front end displays the report to the user. In this way, the data is presented to the user. Why? What are the reasons to have two components, that is both front end and back end? That's why I told you all front end components will interact with the user. Back end is meant for storage, that is called as domain expertise. The total information is presented by a front end, not by a back end. Minimum knowledge is needed in order to interact with the front end, because front end always provides you friendly interfacing, easy to use interfacing, ease of use interfacing, because graphical user interfacing. And then speed. If you have a single software for both the applications, both reading of user requests and processing and producing information, it may slow down the operation. If you have two components, one is to handle the request, one is to manage the data storages. And then language, front end speaks both the machine language, what you call technical language, and user language, whereas this database is concerned, backend is concerned, it speaks only in technical language. Right. So in this session, we started with very important unit. Sir, financial accounting system is completely a single unit. Just I will revise one point. See, as far as our EIS is concerned, Enterprise Information System is concerned, 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the first chapter? Components of Information System. Components of Information System. Second chapter, data, concepts of data and DBMS. Third one is information system, risks and controls, IS risk and controls. Next one is IS audit. All these 4 chapters are come under one unit. All these 4 chapters are come under one unit. Later, we have business process automation. Next one is BPA, risk and controls. See, these 2 are come under one unit. And then we have e-commerce, financial and accounting system. This is one unit. That itself, a single chapter itself is a single unit. Chapter number 8, e-commerce, M-commerce. 9, emerging technologies. These 2 chapters are come under one unit. And core banking system, CBS, itself is a single unit. Totally we have 5 units, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Up to now, we have completed the first unit, that is 4 chapters. Second unit, that is BPA risk and controls. And then unit number 4, electronic commerce, M-commerce and emerging technologies. Now we are under financial and accounting system. Still we need to complete core banking system. These are still we need core banking system. This is under pending. We started today, that is financial and accounting system. Yes. In this session, we started with what is meant by a system. What is meant by a system? A set of detailed methods, procedures, routines created to carry out a specific activity or to solve a problem or to perform a duty. That is, every system maintains steady state even though any changes in the external environment that exists within the boundary defined by the system observer, input, process, output, storage and feedback. And then process, which is a transformation activity which transforms input into output. And very important question number 3. Master data, non-master data. One is permanent data, second one is non-permanent data called transactional data. And then what are various categories of master data in financial and accounting system? Accounting master data, inventory master data, payroll master data, statutory master data, which is a documentary evidence in the case of a transaction. We have various categories. Another important question number 6. What are the components of accounting software? I told you front end and back end. How the data is going to be retrieved, that is user to the front end to the back end to the front end to the user. In this way, this process executed whenever the data. Here, what are the reasons, which is very important question. What are the reasons for separating the software into 2 parts like front end and back end? I told you domain expertise, presentation, user experience, speed, language, etc. All these components are come under the first part of financial and accounting system. See, this is very important element, very important chapter, very important unit. You can score maximum marks from this unit, but very less number of questions also. So please concentrate, try to prepare from the first point onwards. Okay, that's all for today. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.